start. Okay, hi there, my name is Raquel, and today is Sunday the 10th of September. This little guy is Soot, who was getting into some stuff, that's why I'm holding him. I have two other dogs. For those of you who are new, I have a Yorkshire Terrier, a male Yorkshire Terrier who's Rusty. This little guy is also a male. And then I have a mixed race little female dog, and that's Dakota. And usually Rusty joins me. He's decided he wants to be on the floor today. He's not feeling too good this week. He got a stomach bug on Tuesday, and I had to rush him to the vet Tuesday lunchtime when I came home, as there was some blood in his feces and he was puking blood. So but he's okay, he's on antibiotics. He did have like an inflamed stomach and intestines, but it turns out to be nothing. He had an ultrasound done on Thursday evening to check that. I keep looking that way, sorry, because that's where he's at. And like I said, he's fine. He's on antibiotics now for a couple more days, and he was on rice and chicken, which he didn't mind at all, and the other two didn't mind either, because they got to have the rice and chicken as well. Anyway, let's get on to the knitting. I don't have a lot to show you. I have no finished objects. I guess I do have one finished object, but because it's part of a bigger project, I don't really count them as finished. I still count this as a whip, and that is, I'll show you the sweater I'm knitting on in just a moment. But yesterday I went to Famalicão to be with Angela from Dona Agulha, who was at the art fair in Famalicão. And usually we have our knit group at Dona Agulha on the first Saturday of the month, but she changed it to the second Saturday of the month so that we could be at the art fair. And what I did is I took along these 4 projects, which is a sweater and 3 blankets that all had ends to be woven in still. And this sweater and this blanket, I completed that in February this year, and I had planned on sending it straight away to a friend who was pregnant at the time, but since then has had her baby. So now that the ends have finally been woven in, I can send it off to her. And then these 2 other blankets I made. These are my own designs, and I'll show you them in a minute. And I've shown them on the podcast before, but this one already had ends woven in. I was good about that when I finished this one. I knew there was a couple ends that I'd forgotten to weave in on one of the black sections. So it took a while to figure out where that was, and this one had all ends to be woven in. And the little sweater only had ends on the sleeves to be woven in. So because I'd already done the body part. You know how it is, you finish a project and you immediately want to start a new one. So that's what happened with these. I basically immediately wanted to cast on a new project, and these got kind of left behind. That's why with so yeah, I wove in the ends on those 4 projects. That took pretty much the whole afternoon, and then I did start the next block on my pinwheel blanket, which is what I'm going to show you. And I did this little triangle at the art fair still, and then when I got home I did the rest. And I didn't pick up my sweater at all yesterday. Oh no, I did in the morning. I knit on the sweater in the morning. So this little block, and like I said, this whole row of blocks that I'm doing is yarn knit in the order I knit projects in this year, and then I think it ended here basically. Since then I have knit other projects in soft yarn, so I'll be doing that in the next blocks. So from here to here is all patterns I knit last year, and then I did them in the reverse order. So this was the last project I knit, and then so on. So I went from the last to to the latest, to the older ones. So that's that for 2015. This was 2016. So that's the only finished thing I have for you today. I do have yarn for the next block. Let's see, you can't see all of them, but let's see if I can fold this over and you can see it. I'll take these two out, take my needles out. So we have these will be the next block, and this is a block that has Rusty. Shush. Dog's barking outside, and this is how he reacts every single time. Enough, Rusty. Rusty, enough. Come on, man. Come on. Come say why you're complaining. Huh? Barking dogs. No barking. Enough. No. Down. There you go. So yeah. Sorry. Now I lost my train of thought. So I have the next block ready. This is a block. This yarn I've used in 2 other blocks in the blanket already, but I'm spreading them out over the blanket. Rusty. So yeah, 2 more blocks on this row, and then I'll weave in all the ends of the because I've learned my lesson. I'm weaving in ends when I finish the 6 blocks. I weave in ends of the 6 blocks, and then I attach it to the blanket. That way, the ends are woven in as I go along and not at the end, because the mitered square blanket that I finished very early this year needs ends woven in. So what I've decided, as it resulted yesterday, is that from now on, when I go to the knit group, I'll take 1 or 2 projects that need ends woven in, because the ladies there were like, yeah, we want to see the finished object. So we want to see the whole thing finished with ends woven in. So that's what I'm going to do. So quickly show you these, and then I'll go on to the sweater that I'm knitting. So this was a little sweater I made. Came up with the chart. Actually, the chart was from some cross stitch pattern that I found online, and I just modified it so I could use it to put in the sweater. What are you doing, Soot? No! Go away. He's gonna put his paw in my drink over here. So this was using BMG Affinitas baby yarn. It's like 100% acrylic, but it's really super soft. It can go in the washing machine, so you know the mom can wash this with no problem. And I did make it. I already made it for coming winter, so it really does need to be sent now. Otherwise, it will not fit the baby. And then the blanket to match it, which I showed at the beginning of, like I said, if you go back to the episodes from February, you'll see this blanket non-stop because I was working on it throughout February. And this is just a chevron blanket that I've knit before, and the other person I gifted it to in different colors really liked it a lot, so I just decided to make it again. Again, same yarn as for the sweater. Actually used everything that I started new balls with this sweater, and then everything that was left over I knit into this blanket. This section here, basically. All this section here is basically the leftovers from the sweater, and then I just used full skeins. Each stripe that you see here, so like this turquoise stripe, this stripe, it's all one ball of this yarn. And again here, the blue, this white, and this blue and white section was also leftovers I had from other projects. I'm basically all about using up as much yarn as possible this year, so just so that I have a bit more space in my my yarn cabinet, and I can organize things better, especially this acrylic yarn. I bought like a whole bunch of it at the time, and I still have a whole bunch of it, and this is great for for people. I'm not sure about whether they're gonna want to do you know, hand wash items. So this is one package. I need to fold up nicely, wrap it up, and ready to be sent. Then this is going to be a blanket for another person who's already had her baby. This is a blanket I knit in either 2014 or 2015. I believe I knit the first version of this blanket in 2015, and it had one more color in there than this one, and then I decided to do a 4-color version because I didn't have another color that I could add into here. So this is my actually this is the blanket that you see in the opening shot of the podcast where I mention which episode it is. So yeah, that's a blanket I came up with. The pattern for this is up on Ravelry. I'll link it in the show notes. And you just use 4 colors instead of the 5 colors. I am going to write up this 4-color version as an addition to the 5-color version that's up there, because I did this one slightly different than I did the 5-color version. And then another one I still need to write a pattern up for. So, I mean, the 5-color version has been tested, and all mistakes have been edited out. So this 4-color version is going to be very simple. If you would like to test it though, you know, please let me know. And that way that'll motivate me to write up the pattern that much faster. So then this one is another one I came up with. This one does still need to, and I've just seen an end that I forgot to snip. This one I really do need to still write up, but again, it's more or less along the same lines as this one. It's just slightly different because I used the mitered squares instead, and then I did like a log cabin effect after. So this is it, and I've already decided who I'm going to send this one to as well. So I just recently found out a friend of mine is pregnant for the second time, so I'm going to send this. I make these in pretty much neutral colors because, like I said, when I made this blanket, I didn't know who I was going to gift it to, and this works for either girl or boy. So, and I know that this friend I'm going to send this one to, I sent her a baby blanket at the time as well. So I just need to make some little items to go with it. So I have some time, but I want to get all of these out. This one's going to be given out soon. This one's going to be sent out this week, definitely this week. And this one, I'm going to give myself until mid-November or something to send out. So, like I said, I want to make a little outfit to go with it. So then let's move on to the sweater I mentioned. Here it is. This is the Silver Wolf, which is the Ravelry by Isabel Kramer. And last week I had just started it, so I was like maybe one repeat into the lace here. And this has taken slightly longer because I'm making the largest size. Mostly to do with my gauge that I got with this, because I'm using different yarn than what's suggested, and I wanted a baggier sweater because the last version I made, which was in Olivia yarn, I already made it a larger size according to the gauge I got, but then in the body it was fine up here at the top, but in the body section it was still too tight for my liking. I don't mind them to be fitted at the top, but I like them looser at the bottom, you know, to hide all those extra extra curves that we have down there. So I gave that one to my mom, and she can wear it, and she actually likes long sleeve sweaters. I prefer them to be slightly shorter, so she likes it. So I decided to do this like the largest size available, and I'm using drops alpaca yarn, which I'll show you in a minute. But because I've added lace to this increased section here, I needed to figure out exactly where to start the lace so that it didn't look too odd. So that's why it took a bit longer. The sleeve is going to be way too big, so I'm going to do the decreases slightly different than what she had in the pattern. Still keep the sleeve to match the overall effect of the sweater, like slightly looser, but I'm going to do the decreases slightly faster because I need to decrease quite a lot of stitches. So I've done maybe 7.5 centimeters or so, 8 centimeters of the body already after dividing for the sleeves. Now it's really simple. The lace repeat is super simple to memorize. I've already got memorized. The only thing is, like, I'm working on 300 something stitches, so one row takes like a long time to complete. So, and the reason I stopped here was because I've reached the end of the ball, so I need to attach a new one. I decided to start to try the spit splice method with this one, and it actually works quite good. I didn't know how it was gonna work with the alpaca, but it requires a bit more, a little bit more friction to attach properly than it does with wool, but it works fine anyway. So I'm using this, like, a gray color, which is color 9020, so 9020, of the Drops Alpaca. It's a light gray. It looks white on screen, but it's a light gray. It's a tonal as well. It says mix over here because it's not one solid color. And like I said, I had 7 skeins. I had 3 different dye lots of this. I have the one dye lot I used for the swatch because I only had 10 grams of that left over anyway. Then the other dye lot, I only have 3 skeins, so I'm going to leave that one to the very end and use it for the sleeves probably if I really need it. And then the other one I had 7 skeins, and I'm 3 skeins in now. I'm probably not gonna need to make it as long as I thought I needed to make it because this stretches out quite a bit, and with wear and everything is going to stretch out even more. So I'm just gonna, hopefully I can get out. I'm gonna put a marker in here. This marker, where are we at? This marker here is showing me where I started knitting in the round. So I'm going to attach another marker here when I attach a new yarn, just to see how much I get out of one ball, one ball of yarn. That way I can figure out if I need to add 2 or 3 more skeins to this in terms of length. Also to determine exactly how many rows I can get out of it, so I know how many rows because I know how many rows I need to knit still, and then I can just see. Yeah. Basically, it's to see if I need to use those 3 skeins of the other lot or not. Hopefully, just for like the very end of the sleeves, maybe. Then what I did on Friday evening was ball up a whole bunch of. This one is basically empty. It's got the pinroll blanket in there. What I did on Friday evening was skein up a whole bunch of yarn for upcoming projects. This is going to be for hoodie shawl cardigan that I'm making as soon as I finish this sweater, and I'll be weaving in ends before I start the next sweater. So these 4 colors. This was a kit from Artisano. When they started their website, they had a whole bunch of they offered a whole bunch of discount, and I got this kit like super cheap. This was in December 2015. This is their 4-ply 100%. Let's see, 100% superfine alpaca. And I need to quickly gauge swatch. I'm pretty much already determined which size I'm going to make, because this is drapier yarn, so I can make a size smaller and it'll still fit. So yeah, this is I'm going to use these 2 as the hood section, and then I'm going to use this as the main body. I have 3 skeins of each color. These are 50 gram skeins, so I have 150 grams of each color, and that should be more than enough to make the sweater. And then this one's going to be my contrasting color at the bottom, and depending on how much I use of the other colors, I might use it elsewhere in the sweater as well. I'm thinking of maybe adding a pocket, because that was the only thing that the pattern doesn't have, and if I add it, maybe I'll just add it on top instead of like adding it inside, so we'll see. And then the rest of the yarn I skeined up was, I hope nothing falls out, and this is my box of socks for October. I'll be hosting Macau again in October for socks, which will be starting in 3 weeks time, believe it or not. 3 more weeks and we're in October. So I'll just quickly go through this, and I can't remember the order which I'm going to start now, but oh yeah, this is yarn I got gifted by a friend. This is Ms. Bab's Hot Shot Toes, and it came in two little skeins. There's not 50 grams in there, I know that. It's less. So what I'm going to be doing is the heels, toes, and the cuffs, heels, and toes I'm going to be doing in this. And this is RGO yarn sock 4. I've used this. This is a skein that got left over from Sock Madness. So this is going to be for heels, cuffs, heels, and toes. For this one. Then, like I said, I don't know the order, so I'll just go through them. This is also RGO yarn sock 4 in a beige color. This here is tiger sock yarn, and like blacks, and then a whole bunch of rainbow colors. Let's see that back. And this beige yarn, as I was starting to skein up, this little ball, this is the 50 grams. There was like a knot in there, so I just took this one off the ball winder and started a new ball. So that's why there's this little bit in there. And then we have, let's see if I said this correctly. This is Yarn Adventure sock, and this was from the sock club that Rosario and Filomena did last year for October. So that was that one, and this one was the one I got from Donna Maria, and this supposedly is a self-striking skein, and from what I saw as I was winding it up, it looked to be. Then these two are also Donna Maria. I bought this one in April when she was here, when Rosario was here, and this one, I think I bought that one last year when she was here as well. So this is going to be my box of socks for October. And again, I can't remember the sequence now, but I have all the ball bands in my folder over there. I created a little folder with all the projects I still want to knit this year, and because in October I am definitely going to focus on the socks. If I have a sweater on the go, I will first work on the socks and then I'll work on the sweater. So I created a little folder over there, and I have all the ball bands for these yarns with socks. So then you will see them in October as I knit them. And I hope I can knit all 7 of them. And then there's still 1 or 2 patterns I have come up with that I want to try out, and I'll be doing them in some other yarn. I can't show you because the computer is on top of the box that they're in. But basically it's going to be the RGO yarn 4. So this yarn, this is just soft yarn in a solid color. Because I've come up with some table designs I want to use in socks, and I want to try them out on some solid colors, and then maybe try them on some lightly speckled or lightly variegated yarn to see how that comes out. And that's it for today. Not as long as last week. This is more or less my usual length. Last week I did have to, editing took a long time. It took me, I filmed in the morning and it took me the whole afternoon to get the whole thing uploaded because I had to edit it twice. I had inserted a little video of me going on the metro, but that made the file too big to be uploaded to YouTube, and only warned me about that when it was almost halfway done editing, halfway done uploading. So I had to re-edit, remove the video, and so I did take a little video yesterday from the art fair, and I took some photos. So I'm gonna add in the photos for sure. If the video isn't too big, I might add in the video as well. But I can't promise. If anything, I'll add that video with the metro ride and some other little videos I took of Rusty trying to save Soot from being under the rug, and I'll upload that as an extra little video on YouTube later this week. Okay, so have a nice day. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday if you're watching this today. If not, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.